Welcome. Good morning, everyone. I'm Julia Morsher, music director here at Emerson Unitarian Universalist Church in Houston, Texas. Our beloved community of faith, reason, and affection welcomes all to grow in mind and spirit as together we build a better world. If you're joining us for the first time this morning, we extend a special welcome to you and invite you to fill out our visitor card so you can receive more information about Emerson and our activities. Again, welcome to all. We are a church in many places, some of us here at the pews and some joining us on YouTube from home or wherever we might be. And our world is a different one than it was in early 2020. And our worship service has changed accordingly. People on site are sitting in every other pew with space between families. We've put a few offering baskets at the front and back of the sanctuary for people to drop off their offering throughout the service, rather than passing the plates. And only our musicians are singing right now, as the rest of us learn new ways to experience our hymns. And please take this time to silence all cell phones. Following the worship service, folks in the pews may head out to the courtyard and playground to chat, and we'll also have social time on Zoom, a chance for you to gather in smaller groups to discuss the service and what's going on in your lives. Folks online will give that link at the end of the service, and it's also in today's e-blast. So let's get started with our prelude. Sean?
Universalist religious educator Angus MacLean once said that the method is the message. Throughout the service today, you'll have chances to do little challenges, things that are just a tiny stretch, whether you're in the pews here or whether you're at home. For people here, we invited you to sit in a different pew than you usually do and to grab a coloring sheet. If you're at home, well, you can choose to move to a different couch. You might choose how you want to move around, get yourself a cold glass of water, doing what it takes to center. Let us begin. As we gather together this morning, may we learn to recognize and affirm the pieces of possibility, the bits of good we bring. May we encourage rather than control, love rather than possess, enable rather than envy, allowing our individual gifts to weave a patchwork of peace, the soft, deep blue of sensitivity and understanding, the red energy of creativity, the white heat of convictions, the risky, fragile green of new growth, the golden flashes of gratitude, the warm rose of love. Each of us is indispensable if we are to minister to a broken and wounded world. Together in our gathered diversity, we form the whole. So be it. There we go. Our chalice lighting words today are from Deborah Falk, and I invite you to join me in saying them with me. The chalice lit among us is a beacon of hope in a world in crisis, a beacon of possibility made manifest in community, a beacon of warmth through our interconnections, a beacon of light illuminating our shared wisdom, a beacon of connection by our being together. Please rise and body your spirit as you're able for our opening hymn, number 188.
Broken your vows 1,000 times, we've broken your vows 1,000 times. Come, come, whoever you are, one who wish, one of leaving, as is the caravan of despair. Come, let him come. Come, come, whoever you are, come, crash, whoever is waiting, for is the present forever of faith, as is the present when God is waiting, as is the present wherever is waiting, come, crash, whoever is waiting, for is the present forever of faith, as is the present when God is waiting, as is the present when God is there.
One of the interesting things about a church. Am I alive now? Tell me when. I mean, this part is totally inside baseball. When you work for a church, you learn things that are different than what you might imagine. One of the funniest pieces about being at a church is that people like to drop things off at your office. They say, oh, well, I thought you could use this thing. The strangest thing to date that I have gotten was some, oh shoot, maybe they were Malaysian, puppets made from goat hide. So I come in one day and there's a plastic bag full of like goat hide with half the fur off of it cut into interesting shapes. You don't know. We actually had to pass a policy a little before my time here that said, you cannot just drop off your furniture at church. You need to call our business administrator and see if we actually have a need for it. And hence, this green caterpillar chair. I like the chair. The problem is a lot of people find it very uncomfortable. It's really also hard to get into in a graceful way on a Sunday morning. You have to decide if you're going to side saddle or what. So I'm going to let you guess, for those who got a chance to get a coloring sheet, what do you think our story today might be about? A dragon! Yes, our book today is How to Light Your Dragon. Can't breathe fire? Not even the tiniest flicker of flame? Has your pet dragon's fire gone out? Don't worry, there must be a way to relight him. Perhaps something's blocking his flames. Try lifting up his back legs and giving him a good shake. Nothing? Make him lie on the ground and bounce up and down on his tummy. No luck? Maybe he needs a new spark. A good way to make a spark is to find a feather duster and tickle your dragon. Tickle his feet, under his arms, and the tip of his nose. Still nothing? Oh dear, this is serious. Let's try something else. Ask your dragon to play a game of cards with you, and then cheat. Make sure you cheat lots and lots. Make him really angry. No explosions? Here's another idea. Make a big cake and put candles on it. A dragon cannot resist lighting candles. He won't be able to stop himself. Oh, apparently he can stop himself. Perhaps you should just eat the cake. Take your dragon shopping, then show him the latest ovens and sing their praises. Make your dragon jealous by saying, "Look at these lovely flames. I wish we had something as hot as that at home." No reaction at all? How about this? Make fake flames out of red and yellow paper and stick them to the end of his nose. Better than nothing, right? But what if your dragon swallows the paper flames, flops down, and refuses to move? Well, then you've got a real problem. It's sad to think that your dragon might never breathe fire again. So sit down beside him and think about all the good times you shared and all the adventures you've had together. Then tell him that he's still your dragon and that you'll always love him, even if he never breathes fire again. And give him a great big kiss on the nose. Wow, guess what? A great big kiss full of love is also full of magic.
Giving out of what is our own is a transformative act. As a community of faith, we collect an offering, not for ourselves or our congregation, but to give to others as a collective action of our community and as a way to live out our shared values. Please give with a generous heart to support our March Share the Plate recipient, the Rutherford B.H. Yates Museum. The mission of the Rutherford B.H. Yates Museum is to promote preservation, education, archaeology, and research of African diaspora history, focusing on the period of enslavement and post-slavery era in Houston's Freedmanstown, the Gulf Coast region of Texas, and their connections to other regions in the world. And as always, 25% of our offering will go to Interfaith Ministries Meals on Wheels, feeding Houston seniors. We have 4 ways to give. You can text the number on the screen, go to our webpage for online giving, or you can put in our offering basket or mail a check to the church.
Imagine that you're in the car on a perfect spring day and you've got your arm out the window riding that wave. You know that feeling. We're not in the car, but let's give it a try. It's freeing, effortless. Everything just feels right. You might notice your breathing slowing, your shoulders settling down an inch or two. How do you get yourself to that feeling of right, centered? That, my friends, is meditation. For some, that might mean sitting very still and quiet. For others, we need to move a little, or at least have something to do with our hands. Somewhere along the line, somebody taught us that to be good, we need to be very still and very quiet. And the thing is, that does work for some people, but not for others. Coloring pages, pipe cleaner sculpture, swaying with music, leaning against a wall, tracing your palm with your fingers. For those at home, you have way more options for centering yourself. Sorting your loose change, or perfectly folding t-shirts, picking up your knitting, or gently waltzing around the room, whatever gets you to that place of feeling centered in your own soul. We're going to take 4 minutes now, with Sean providing some lovely, lively music. If you need to get up to find a more comfortable position or to get more art supplies, feel free.
I love jigsaw puzzles. I love that moment of satisfaction when you finally find the fourth corner piece and the smooth feel of the completed puzzle under your hand. But what I love most is seeing the picture emerge. How many times have I stared at a mess of pieces, jumbled upside down, and then little by little, noticed the patterns? Ah, these are the boat, all the same blue. These must be the pier, and those tan pieces must be the tree trunk. And oh, the texture on those green ones, clearly they are the leaves. Life has often felt to me like a jigsaw puzzle, or really like the mess of pieces when you first dump out the box. When faced with multiple decisions at the same time, I've felt unsure which piece to try first. Little by little, I try piece after piece until one clicks. Then I can recognize the pieces that might fit around it, and eventually the pattern emerges. Not just in the picture I'm creating, but in the mess of pieces I have still to pick up. Of course, jigsaw puzzles are for quiet days and snowed-in vacations. The times when I've really struggled, it hasn't felt relaxing at all. Years ago, I was trying to decide whether to leave town for a school that was the right fit, or to stay in town for a new partner who I thought might be the one. Then again, he might not be. I wasn't at all sure what the picture would look like in either scenario, but it felt like a decision that would change the course of my life. It was, actually. For weeks, I agonized over making the right decision. If only I could go 20 years in the future, I thought, to see how each choice turned out. If only I knew my choice were the right one. The truth is that in real life, we can't see the photo on the cover of the box. We can only place the pieces, one by one, and see what kind of picture we create. Sometimes the fit isn't right. We have chosen the wrong piece. Sometimes the picture is wildly unexpected. I've learned to stay present, to slow the work of sorting. I need the reminder of my jigsaw puzzles, the world that seems totally out of grasp until, little by little, advances are made, the mess of a life that appears to have no resolution until, little by little, a new possibility of healing emerges. The path forward that's unimaginable until it's not. So I'll keep sorting and finding the corners and waiting for the picture to emerge.
Mostly I'm just following my feet. I don't plan a lot. I like surprises in my day, and I don't mind sitting all alone. It gives me time to think, dream of houses in the trees, dreaming. I see bridges spanning spaces between red oak trees, connecting houses in the leaves. Someday, my room will rock and shiver with the wind. One day, I'll eat my dinner in a tree. it can hurt your head. A labor of love can be the hardest labor. Dreaming, building bridges spanning spaces between red oak trees, connecting houses in the leaves. Someday, my room will rock and shiver with the wind. One day, I'll write my songs up in a tree. If you find me following my feet far out on a limb, forgetting things I should have known, you can laugh, but don't be surprised by that blank stare in my eyes. I'm just making plans for my new home. Dreaming, I see bridges spanning spaces between red oak trees, connecting houses in the leaves. Someday, my room will rock and shiver with the wind. One day, I'll eat my pie up in the sky. Dreaming, 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 dreaming.
One of the blessings of being a Unitarian Universalist is we are bound to no one scripture. We can look for wisdom in pretty much anything. Yes, in our words of ministers, in our hymns, and also in picture books. A song by Trout Fishing in America. Let me lift up these lyrics. For the dream to live, there comes a time when you have to work. Time to roll the sleeves up on your shirt, and sometimes if you think of what's involved, it can hurt your head. A labor of love can be the hardest labor. So, 104 Sundays ago, yes, I'm keeping track, March 8th, 2020, our longtime minister, the Reverend Becky Edmiston Lang, and I got up there in the middle of the chancel, and we shared some ideas about how we might be safer if this coronavirus thing came to Houston. We mentioned the antibacterial gel in the restrooms and demonstrated some ways to greet one another without shaking hands or hugging. We invited the congregation to a few minutes in the aisles to practice foot taps and elbow bumps and namaste bows and more. Within days, the city of Houston and Harris County declared a state of emergency. When we heard they were canceling the rest of the rodeo, yikes, this is serious. That Thursday evening, we got the official recommendation from the Unitarian Universalist Association to close church doors and move online. If, like with that jigsaw puzzle picture, we'd known what we were in for, we'd at least have had computers in the gathering place on that last Sunday to teach people in person how to log into Zoom, how to access their webcams and unmute themselves, how to log into the members section of our website. Instead, we scrambled on our own to figure out our own survival needs. What did we need to pack up from our offices to work from home? Could the household internet handle work meetings, children's virtual school, and just one more Netflix video for the toddler? Could we find enough toilet paper? And with restaurants closing and grocery store rationing, what were we going to eat? In that immediate time, everything was urgent and uncertain. Many of us lost the attention span to read even a page, and even TV became limited to movies and shows we've already seen. No more surprises, please. Psychologists and therapists use the term window of tolerance, the zone where you and your mind and your body are able to do your daily tasks without hyper, too much, or hypo, too little arousal. I know I bounced between hyper and hypoarousal myself in those first few weeks. No appetite, but then a sudden surge of energy followed by a crash. My tolerance for small annoyances, especially sounds, was gone. My family knew that if I left the house for any amount of time, that was their one chance to vacuum or use the paper shredder. And there was a feeling of the loss of control. It is hard to feel helpless and stuck. Many of us sunk this need into problem solving, fact sharing and resource lists. We sewed countless masks, and of course, sourdough. Who among us took part in the sourdough revolution in that first half of 2020? Yeah. In my house, the food thing was Taco Tuesday. Bang, I knew what we were eating one night a week. As time went by, we got a little more creative, could get beyond just, ground meat in a shell. Smoked salmon breakfast tacos. This was some sort of, that's sag paneer tostada. Yeah. Anyway, we started finding ways that we could both fit our needs for control, for comfort, and for creativity. We tried new ways of being in community. Zoom, yeah, but also we were binging the same Netflix shows and keeping track with one another. Some people started again writing letters to one another on actual paper. There were socially distanced Thanksgiving picnics, sharing our daily Wordle scores. This need for connection, even if we weren't still all together. And now, 2 years into this pandemic, we're not through, but infection rates are down, and in our homes, our work, and our chosen groups, we're figuring out what comes next. Yes, the tempting, the most straightforward solution might be to hit some reset button, to just go back where everything was in early 2020, or maybe some earlier date where everything just made sense. And we are not the same people. In some cases, quite literally, nearly 1 million Americans dead. And how many of us have moved or changed jobs or retired or had a baby or a grandbaby in the past 2 years? Some of us on this chancel have a couple of those. How many have realized that the old ways could use some improvement? Office workers saw that they could be more productive and balanced if they lost the commute, could take a real lunch break, and maybe do the laundry amidst the meetings and spreadsheets. People with mobility issues and chronic pain could take part in social occasions without spending the spoons on putting on shoes, driving, or figuring out the bus schedule. The nation paid attention, however briefly, to our essential workers. What change may come there, I do not know. Now, there's a temptation when we're thinking ahead to come up with a grand plan, a resolution as we do in the new year. This will be the year that we run the marathon, give up all fried foods, write the next great American novel. Behavioral scientist B.J. Fogg talks about tiny habits, and he has the research that we change our habits through very small steps, best when they're linked to something we already do. Like, I can commit to every morning doing a little professional reading while I drink my coffee. We know I'm going to drink the coffee, right? Or rather, than that great American novel that we're suddenly miraculously going to have hit us and we're just going to write it in a year. Maybe a goal will be, during my lunch break, I will write a paragraph. And it may be horrible, but I will write that paragraph and I can always edit it later. Through tiny stretches, we can transform ourselves and our communities. So it is a time to try new things, to embrace experiments. I say this as a parent of, shall we say, adventurous young people. Perhaps the worst part of having twins is that, compared to a single child of their age, they have double the strength and dexterity and no additional impulse control. Indeed, they urge each other on. My guys were curious and sometimes ingenious, and well, I thank the stars every day for their high school chemistry teacher. Here's my firstborn son, who is doing an experiment with thermite. Thermite, kaboom, a big, bright exothermic reaction. That has my kids written all over it. And their teacher would let them do the thing if they did a full experiment plan first, thinking about what they would need, what safety procedures were required, and who might be impacted. And afterwards, they needed to touch base and think about what had happened, to reflect on what they'd learned and revisit this after their experiment. At the same time, experiments, change, these things have their limits. A small proportion of people relish change. I was just talking with Juan. It's like 5% of people want to do all the things. It's invigorating. They are forever rearranging their furniture and introducing new programs and enthusiastically advocating for every idea that comes their way. And they can really exhaust folks who aren't looking for change, who will take a little longer to observe and consider before taking the plunge. Especially as we're dealing with the accumulated trauma of the world, back to those windows of tolerance. How do we move ourselves and our groups forward so people can stretch a little, but do not get pushed so far out of their comfort zone that they shut down? An experiment, particularly when it's just written on a piece of paper, can look at a single variable. People, and even more so communities, are so much more complex. Some of us, for the first time in our lives, have had to calculate our risks. And it's not just a matter of logistics and data. We may have lost faith in ourselves and in one another. Like the dragon in our story, we need our flames relit. In that story, an unseen narrator offers solutions that are abrupt and harsh, and well, even if this dragon does not have a flame, he's still got spikes and teeth and a fair amount of heft. And it isn't very nice to mess with a pet or a friend. In the end, it wasn't the most complicated plan, the heavy lifting plan, that worked. It was time to sit together and think back on their past. That opened the door to what was next. The dragon needed to know that he was cherished and valued for more than just his flame. He needed affirmation in order to reclaim his gift. He and we need love. The good news for us, we're a religious community. Love is kind of our thing. Heck, Reverend Michelle gave us love signs to hang around our neck last Sunday. We can move into what's next with care, one little stretch at a time, with time to affirm one another. Now, one more little stretch. Our closing hymn may be new to you. It certainly was to me. And it is lovely. Let us rise as we are able, and let its melody and words sink into our souls. Within each of our hearts, there is a most glorious light. Go forth and let its spark help you understand what troubles both you and others. Go forth and let its light of reason be a guide in your decisions. Go forth and bring its ray of hope to those in need to help in both body and spirit, that they may find healing. Go forth and fan the flames of passion to help heal our world. Go forth and spread the warm glow of love, pushing back the darkness of the world. Go forth and share your glorious light with the world.
Some announcements. Social time will be here and on Zoom. And you can see a recording of today's service as well as past services on YouTube. Next Sunday is our March open house. If you're new to Emerson and want to learn more about membership or just want a refresher, the open house is for you. And now our postlude.